All right, y'all. So now let's get into some homosexual news on the MAGA front, because child, the maggots are carrying out in these streets. But then again, who's surprised by all of this mess? So, um, yeah, I came across this story on, of all places, Daily Mail, and which is shocking to me because Daily Mail always comes across as very pro-Trump. A lot of times when I read their headlines, I be wanting to smack the shit out of some of them over there because they'll put like Nepo baby or woke this, and there's a lot of bells and whistles that they use over there where it's just like, okay, if I see any of you clear people, because clearly it's y'all writing this mess. And I think they're British. Oh, y'all would have lost, y'all already got bad teeth as it is. So y'all would have lost even more teeth. But I know I'm stereotyping, but just like y'all be stereotyping with some of the stuff over here, I'm playing y'all game too. So anyway, there was this article that came out from the Daily Mail, which, like I said, shocked the heck out of me. So they said there's some classic cases, which I think we all knew this, that's rocking the MAGA political party. So, according to the Daily Mail, a secret homosexual gay scandal has rocked the Republican Party as married men, and a sitting member of Congress has been accused of sleeping with male escorts, even as their party thunders about traditional family values. It's always the hypocrisy with them. In candid interviews, young, muscular sex workers in Washington, D.C. described a booming business fueled by Republican officials, from state lawmakers and high powered lobbyists to federal government staffers and at least one congressman. The revelations come as the GOP faces renewed scrutiny over its hypocrisy on homosexuality, publicly championing the traditional nuclear family while privately indulging in the very behavior many Republicans denounce. Oh, they're not the only ones. It's not just the church. I mean, it's not just the Republicans. And you already know the log cabin Republicans. Don't even get me started on the most self hating homosexuals. That ain't the word I wanted to use. I wanted to use the word that rhymed with maggot. But there's that, and then it's the church. The church, they be a lot of them up in there too, diddling with the children. But talking about homosexuality is a sin, you going to hell and all this other, it's abomination. No, your entire existence is a goddamn abomination. But let me get back into this before I get even more heated. The revelation comes as GOP faced reduced scrutiny, and then it said one DC-based male escort described having a 2-year relationship with a sitting Midwestern congressman who, during that period, had multiple serious girlfriends. The 29-year-old sex worker with boy next door looks described dinners at downtown DC eatery Butterworth's, a popular MAGA haunt, followed by late nights, he told the Mail, on the condition that neither man was identified. The unnamed lawmaker is closeted, cautious, and carried the weight of a public image that left no room for who he really was. This is according to the escort. Saying, quote, it's gotten difficult to ignore the dissonance between the man I know in private and the votes that he cast publicly. This is what he said. The Republican is now engaged to a woman. How much you want to think is the other one with long teeth and baby gums? And I'm not talking about Charlie Kirk. I'm talking about Tim Scott. Am I the only one that was thinking her? Because remember how all of a sudden when he was running for president, they was dogging where your girl at? Where your girl? All of a sudden, that self-hating, he's a boom, maybe in the closet, because he was giving me Butch Queen tease. Like I was getting that vibe from him. And now, all of a sudden, you come out of the woodworks with a woman, and not only that, a snow bunny. Because what else are the maggots gonna get with? They ain't gonna get with no black woman. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are conservative black women, but you ain't seeing Tim Scott getting a black woman that's willing to go with the foolishness. So now another escort, a 35-year-old chisel, with chiseled features and a bodybuilder's physique, was also candid. He described officials in the federal government, a state senator, and lobbyists among his clients. The 29-year-old sex worker with boy next door looks described dinners at downtown DC eatery Butterworth's. Wait, is it repeating itself? And it said, I see a lot. Oh wait, no, it's They said, I see a lot of Republican clients on the low. I'm not going to out my clients, but there are many in the Republican Party. The revelations echo comments from Grindr CEO George Arison, who revealed his app sees dramatic surges in activity during major Republican gatherings, including a significant spike at the party's July 2024 convention in Milwaukee. Yeah, we talked about that on the show too, how like they said Grindr crashed 2 times during the RNC. But they be the main ones out there carrying. Y'all hate the gays because the reality is the LGBT community who have no choice but to live out loud and proud or decide to live out loud and proud. And I'm talking about the femme queens, the feminine ones that can't, go stealth and butch it up when they need to, or just be overtly just, I'm a regular guy who likes sports and all that stuff, because not all gays are a stereotype. Not all homosexuals are into RuPaul's Drag Race, pop, dip, and spin in Vogue, paint their nails, do drag, and all other stuff. Yeah, I like my drag race, but there are people that like sports and things as well. And there are gay men that relatively like sports and don't have a sense of community where they feel like they belong in that. But they're not being highlighted. Whereas when you look in certain situations, like it just there's this thing where it's like a lot of these people are sexually repressed. They come from the Bible Belt, or they come from a place that is deeply religious. They haven't come to the terms where they feel like they can be their authentic selves because they're so indoctrinated by what society has told them, what the church has told them, or them worrying about what society thinks, or the media representation, because stereotypes sell. So when you have a lot of that goes into the situation, a lot of these men are afraid to come out. And it's like, okay, if you want to live in the closet, live in the closet. But why are you putting policies together that's going to do harm for a very community that you feel ashamed of being a part of, but you on the low hunching men for money because you know they're going to keep your secret because they don't want to mess up their money. Like I even showed a video on here of y'all from Crush Daddy. Um, what was it? It was a while ago. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, where he was talking about political, like him, where he does he's I guess he does escorting stuff. I don't know if the video would still be there, but he talked about, I don't know if this is it though. um yeah, I don't think I'll be able to find it, because he was up in there talking about how, like, the how he got caught up in, he would sleep with a couple of male politicians. Because I think he always talks about, yeah, I'm probably not gonna find it, because he always talks about how, like, he creates videos and all other stuff on YouTube, or not even YouTube, but like on Instagram or whatever case, and his Instagram keeps getting taken down. Let me see if this is it. Um, Oh no, he's talking about whole stuff. So anyway, never mind. We'll just have to. If I can find it another time, I'll bring it up here on y'all. But look it up. Y'all probably be able to find it better than I would. But anyway, so to get back into the story, they said similar surges have been recorded at other GOP gatherings over the years, suggesting that for some Republican attendees, the party national meetings double as covert dating events. The GOP's 2024 platform quietly dropped explicit condemnations of same-sex marriage, a striking shift from past years, but the party remains heavily influenced by religious conservatives who view homosexuality as sinful, immoral, or socially destructive. But mind you, y'all be out here using and abusing women and children. But y'all, these religious cults view some homosexuality as sinful, immoral, and socially destructive. And there's people that's in that party, these religious folks who get caught up in gay scandals. And then, of course, you got this nutbag running the country. Donald Trump's version of the Republican Party may be less hostile to gay people than previous incarnations. House Speaker, well, I think it's a damn closet case. Mike, what do they call him? Moses Mike Johnson has controversially called same-sex marriage the dark harbinger of chaos and sexual anarchy, and once described homosexuality as inherently unnatural and a dangerous lifestyle. Isn't he the same one that monitors and his son's, if he's on the internet and if you're looking at porn and vice versa? Weirdos. LGBTQ activists say such rhetoric makes the GOP inherently anti gay, despite signs of modernization. They point to the Trump administration's record rolling back protections for trans people, pushing book bans for titles with LGBTQ themes, and supporting laws restricting gender affirming care for minors. And didn't we just go through something recently where they were trying to, like, with the museums and all those other stuff? So erasing queer history. Also, the rainbow cross street that they had in Florida for Pulse, the Pulse nightclub. They just went over that. And I saw people went out there, repainted the street, was out there with their signs and showing like, okay, you could erase gay, you could erase our history, but you're not erasing us. And it's the same thing with anybody who's of a marginalized community. Anybody who's not white and rich and can fatten the pockets of these nutbags running the country, they're gonna try to erase all our history with his woke, weaponizing woke nonsense, whatever, with black history because they're making America look bad. I'm like, we're not gonna sit up here and erase the atrocities that make up our country. There are good things about America and there are negative things. And if you're feeling guilty about some of the stuff of our past, then that's a you problem. We need to do whatever we need to do. The history is there so we don't repeat it. But you want people to forget so that way they'll go along with it. It's like, no, we're not doing this fascist, authoritative bullshit. I'm not doing it. So you can push back as far as you want. We're going to just keep pushing. So they said, yet President Donald Trump himself was widely considered personally tolerant, even welcoming towards gay people. Well, if that's the case, he's showing differently. So why is it that you have people and you tolerate gay people, and I don't want you to tolerate me? I don't give a fuck if you tolerate me or if you accept me. You gonna respect me though when I walk into a room. So I don't care. I don't give a damn. When tolerant, tolerant. But okay, they there. They're not doing anything offensive. So I can deal with it. It's like, oh, it's there. I can deal with it. It's not. It's no skin on bone. It's like no, because tolerant. I feel like it's just there's a negative connotation I give with the word tolerance when you talk about people living their life. Some people want to call it a lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle. It's not something that I'll just put on around my shoulders like it's a goddamn fur coat and just take it off, when I'm about to get into bed and go to sleep. It's a part of who I am. It's not all of who I am, it's a part of who I am. And people need to understand that. So that tolerant word, it irks me. Makes my teeth itch. So they said he has attended same-sex weddings, waved the rainbow flag at rallies, and appointed openly gay officials, including current Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who has been married to attorney John Freeman since 2011. But what are their policies? What do they stand for? I don't give a good goddamn if you did all this other stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that's like saying some of my best friends are black when you're racist. Like, miss me with that. Trump was also a mega fan of child, not the village people. Oh, because that really solidifies you love the gays. Ain't nothing about solidifying the gays and all other shit than bringing up some damn village people. Macho man, that's his mantra. He like to walk out because it makes him feel manly. Still, no account of rainbow flag waving at the top can erase decades of Republican scandals. So let's get into those. A gay hookup grinder saw a spike in users. And then it said, the party also repeatedly been rocked by politicians who denounce homosexuality by day, only be caught in compromising situations at night. The cases are infamous. Larry Craig, the Republican senator from Idaho who campaigned on family values, was arrested in 2007 for allegedly soliciting sex from an undercover police officer in a Minneapolis airport bathroom. Child, that's what y'all be doing that tapping up in there. Craig denied wrongdoing, but did not seek re-election because he was embarrassed. Now, Ed Schrock, not be confused with that what's his name? That shock dude, the one that went and spent all that money to make his office look like Liberace sex den. A Virginia Republican congressman and Baptist church president withdrew from his 2004 re-election bid after recordings surfaced of him allegedly seeking sexual relations with a man via a hookup phone service, despite opposing changes to allow gay people to serve openly in the military. Wes Goodman, an Ohio Republican state lawmaker who championed natural marriage, resigned in 2017 after details emerged of sexual encounters with men, including in his state office. Numerous other state level lawmakers and party operatives have quietly resigned or faded from public life following similar revelations. For critics, each scandal reinforces the charge of hypocrisy. Republicans invoking scripture and protecting the children. Oh, that's always their go-to. Y'all just like I told you, they're like those wind-up toys. Like y'all literally will do the same tired-ass talking points. And I always say, those who shout the loudest about this sort of thing, y'all be the biggest hypocrites. And then I was like, okay, I gotta look into you because you up to something. You up to some things. You into some mess. And now I'm starting to think that you be getting down with the get down low key. So numerous other state level lawmakers and party operatives are quiet resign. They said for critics, each scandal reinforces. And then, oh wait, I read the part. So then it said there are also been similar scandals involving Democrats. We're not only gonna get on the Republicans because Democrats ain't no angels in this either. Congressional aide Aiden Mascharovsky, who was 24. Oh, I remember this one. He was fired in 2023 over an amateur. Remember when he made the video in the what was it like in the congressional building or whatever? He had filmed the sex tape and it came out, but they said they're less controversial given the party's embrace of LGBTQ issues. So it's like, yeah, the Democrats, the way they've been positioned. When you look at the two different parties, Democrats seem to be very pro LGBT. Took them a while to get around to that, but they've been pushing forth a lot of LGBTQ plus policies and that sort of thing. Now they all scared to say trans or come to the aid of trans people because they weren't about the current GOP and stuff. But they're the ones who brought up, you know, I guess it's less controversial because it's like, okay, they one of us, so it's not a big deal. But the bigger deal is the hypocrites that come out of the GOP and the MAGA sect who sit and hate on LGBTQ people who always preach about family values, but they be the main ones throwing their legs up to Jesus. So Arison did not release exact numbers, but one analysis revealed that 166% jump in Grinder actively during the convention, saying you could be a homosexual and conservative. George Santos is not the most trusted voice in the Republican Party. There was a definite spike in usage. This is what Arison told Unheard, adding Grindr's user base is very diverse, including card carrying Republicans. High profile GOP figures such as Basent, he noted, show that gays are achieving a level of acceptance in society that is positive. But he added, there's no way to get around the fact that there are people on the right who are not yet okay with gay people. And that's fine. That's like, there are always going to be people who don't agree with you being gay. That's perfectly fine. But like I said, I don't care if you accept me and all this other stuff, but you should respect me. And I guess I'm different because I live in a metropolitan area. And I know there's people out there that are still coming to terms with who they are and their sexual orientation and things of that nature. And so they need time to get to that place of love and self-acceptance, which I guess is why they look to the divas like the Madonnas and the Gagas and so many others to make them feel that sense of love and acceptance and, where they're not getting it from other places. So when I pop on that favorite song, it's like I feel like I'm getting that from them. So they said the contradictions in GOP ranks go back decades. In the late 70s, California conservatives pushed the Briggs Initiative to bar gay and lesbian teachers from public schools, a move so extreme that even Ronald Reagan opposed it. It was during that period that the Log Cabin Republicans, the party's first major gay advocacy group, was formed, but acceptance remained elusive. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Republican officials could still derail a rival's career with mere insinuations of homosexuality. That culture of fear, secrecy, and public condemnation created fertile ground for double lives, a pattern still visible today. Though some insiders believe the GOP is slowly evolving. Really? Because I don't see it. Others argue that the party's mixed messaging, softening its stance on marriage while still vilifying queer culture, leaves the party with the worst of both worlds, alienating progressives while breeding distrust among younger conservatives who value authenticity over moral posturing. And that's what it is now. Like I've been saying, like so many things with the younger generation, the thing with them is you gotta feel authentic to them. They're not about like this moral posturing. They're not about the fake and the phoniness. Even though I don't know how they couldn't see through the Republican stuff and what they were doing, but I guess it's because regardless, even if they don't agree with the situation, they at least stood for something and they were in lockstep. And unlike the Democrats, who are all over and still are all over the place in regards of where they want to see the country move forward, they're not good with change and evolving with the times. They're still trying to hold on to what once was. Hence why you have such pushback from a lot of these old school Democrats against someone who's way more progressive, like a Zoran Mondani, where people are talking about, well, Hakeem Jeffries should give him his endorsement. I'll tell you, at this point, he's surging so high in the polls out here in New York. We don't need a Chuck Schumer's endorsement. We don't need Kathy Big Teeth, Nosferatu looking ass Holschel's approval. We don't need who the other one? Hakeem. Speaking of fucked up teeth, Hakeem Jeffries. We don't need APAC Shakur's approval. in regards of whether or not he's going to endorse Zoran. When you cut to APAC, we don't want all of that, because especially when a lot of people out here are against what's happening to the Palestinian people and Gaza and occupying the West Bank. So if you're not going to get on board, then get left behind, because your ass is about to get voted out. Now, they also said that Grindr is making secrecy harder than ever. With GPS matchmaking, it's difficult to slip into a city without leaving a digital trace. So I don't even know how these days these boys is hooking up. And so it was the Senate hearing room where this guy Aiden Massey Sharovsky, I think that's how you say his name. He was fired because he was making a sex tape in a Senate hearing room. That it was getting specific to where it was that it happened. And there was another one, because I know this is a long video, but there was a video that I saw where was it Tim Miller? I don't know if you ever watched this podcast. Although I wish Tim Miller would have went a little harder on Hakeem Jeffries. But Tim Miller went and asked Adam Kinzinger, who is a former GOP congressman. He was asking a bunch of thoughts on the topics or whatever the case is. Well, they were talking about a plethora of topics. I was trying to be able to play if I can get. Hold on, now it's playing. Okay, hold. Why is it this ad? Hold on, let me rewind it back, because now I can bring it up and show y'all the video. And then we got it, because I was like, oh, look, I got the video. But I had to make sure that damn ad stopped playing. So yeah, we'll come back and then we will talk. Please hold.
I have a story from the Daily Mail this morning I do have to read to you. One DC-based male escort described having a 2-year relationship with a sitting Midwestern Republican congressman.
Oh, God.
Who, during that period, had multiple serious girlfriends. The 29-year-old sex worker with boy-next-door looks described dinners at downtown D.C. eatery Butterworth's, which is a very popular MAGA hangout.
That is.
And he said that was followed by late nights. The congressman is now engaged to a woman. So
wait, do we know? So he's not naming?
He's not naming them, but you are a Midwestern congressman. Can we rule you out?
Yeah, you can rule me out.
Okay. Do you have any other thoughts? Do you have any other friends in Congress who were kind of?
Yeah, it's going to end up being a surprise, I guarantee you. But I mean, if he's taking this dude to Buttersworth, like, you'd think, like, what's he? They obviously have to have a cover story, like he works for me or something like that. But look, if this is true,
it's not you can kind of tell. Aaron Schock had cover stories back in the day.
Yeah.
About his staff was very muscled, great teeth.
That's right.
They all had kind of a similar look about them, and maybe it was just a coincidence. So cover stories, sometimes there's some weaknesses in your cover story.
Listen, I think if this is true, if this male escort's telling the truth, it's probably not going to be long until this comes out, because if I actually sat down with a list of Midwest congressmen who just got engaged to women, I'm sure it's down to 1 or 2, right? I just don't know, but I'm sure it's down there.
All right, so there you have it. But to wrap this whole situation up, yeah, I mean, I know it's a lot. First of all, you got to be deaf, dumb, and blind to be surprised by this tea. And some of the, especially when you're dealing with some of the biggest self-hating hypocrites, particularly those who are in the closet but will vote on anti-LGBTQ plus policies. And, they the main ones that be throwing their legs up to Jesus and having a bussy power drill behind closed doors. So let's not forget, as I was saying many a times throughout this story, that, the 2024 RNC Grindr crashed 2 times, not once, but twice. So the girls was out here, cleaned out, lubed up, probably had the butt plug up in them for like for like a couple of hours before they was about to go down to that RNC. The bussy was whistling while I was walking, just perking up and ready for the escorts. The escorts be making good coin when they come down to a lot of these events. And that was when I was telling you about what Crush Daddy was sitting there saying, and I wish I could have found the video to drive this story home even more, so you can hear from his own mouth that this was something that he has encountered, and this is something like in those type of situations with these closeted politicians where he makes a lot of his money. So I believe it, and I've been saying this for years. It's funny how year after year after year, this stuff has to resurface when we get caught up in these situations where they want to roll back the rights against queer people. Now, secondly, based on the headline, while it could be a laundry list of those sexually repressed, homosexual, closet case men's is, the blind item is referring to, the T does definitely reek of Tim Scott. Remember the black version of Charlie Kirk, only when they had the same baby teeth and large gums, was running for president. And when he was pressured on his non existent relationship, all of a sudden he appeared out of nowhere with a white fiance. And what I've come to learn is at the end of the day, what those who speak the loudest against this community, the queer community, whatever, particularly Midwestern politicians, they're the main ones who secretly like men giving a bussy a uppercut. So when you out here getting your a whole uppercut on the bussy, this is what you got to deal with. So I'll say all this to say, because this was a lot to break down, Chad. What y'all think of this story? Excuse me, of these, hypocritical, closeted Republicans trying to roll back rights, but be the main ones out here later low and spreading the wild for that meat, that sweet meat. So whatever y'all thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below.